Before beginning today's video, as usual, I would like to thank all the members of the channel for supporting Zibo Gaming so far. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. And in case you guys do not know, you guys can join the member by clicking on the join button to see the various membership perks and support the channel financially if you have the financial capabilities. Hello everyone, this is Zibo and welcome to today's How Worthy video for Clara the Bound Child. So Clara has a deep story connection to Veronica as well as the Chosen One, and in today's video we're going to run through whether or not this fire range attacker is indeed worthy of your investment and whether or not this fire range attacker will have a significant impact in terms of changing the current Earth dominated meta. And without further ado, let us start today's video to see how worthy is Clara Potentially. Clara is the Chosen One Saintress and she follows Veronica faithfully. However, behind all the facade, they have a master-servant relationship. So Clara faithfully serves Veronica and follows her orders. However, she has been completely brainwashed and her only joy right now is to serve the Chosen One just like Veronica. She's the head of the Missionary activities and her job includes using her powers from unknown origins to punish those who go against the will of Veronica. She's able to deal great damage to both friends and foes, and Clara is basically like a ticking time bomb to everyone else other than Veronica herself. So Clara was originally discovered by Veronica during one of the cult's expedition, and subsequently she was brought back to the headquarters and brainwashed by Veronica, although some can still sense excessive regeneration ability coming from her, but no one can question the correlation between the two. So just in case you guys do not know, Clara was from the original story. She's a priest from the Dungeon Link storyline, which is the previous game that was done by Kong Studios, so there are some correlations. So if you guys want to find out about her previous story as well as her position in Dungeon Link, feel free to search it up yourself. So that's just something about Clara. So her stats ranking based on level 83 heroes are 5th for attack, 55th in terms of HP, 28 in terms of defense, and a 5% crit chance. So her party buff is range damage plus 50%, or more commonly known as range attack plus 50%, with a 5% shield increase on battle start. So she also has a skill damage plus 10% inbuilt into her, and if you guys can't tell by now, she's actually a very glass cannon hero with high offensive stat and low defensive stat. So her normal attack, Hollow Weapon, allows her to number 1 fire Burning Arrow, which deals damage to the enemies, and on the final attack allows her to launch arrows which are piercing. So this means that her last attack is able to pierce through walls but not terrain. So her secondary ability, Burnout, allows her to release flames and increase her attack by 25% for 4 seconds. So this burnout ability will be further buffed by the ability of the exclusive weapon, which I'll talk about later. So her chain skill, Meteor Swarm, allows her to summon Meteor from unknown origin to deal 320% DPS damage. So yes, 320% is slightly in the low middle range according to the many powerful chain skill numbers, but do take note that her chain skill ability starts from airborne, so this damage is actually further buffed upon due to the airborne inclusion into the chain skill. Her special ability, Blessing Void, allows her to increase her movement speed and defense by 20% for 3 seconds whenever she hits the enemy, and at the same time also increases the damage inflicted by Burning Arrow by 20%, so it's a very straightforward kit buffing ability. Her exclusive weapon is known as Paimon's Fragment 3, and this weapon, other than providing her with a decent attack stat, weapon skill regen speed, defense as well as HP stat, it also allows her to use her burnout ability and get fire piercing flame arrows. So this fire piercing flame arrows is kind of misleading. Basically, when you have your exclusive weapon equipped, you will get piercing flame arrows for your normal attack, which is able to pass through walls together with the attack buff for 3 seconds. So this is extremely good against a lot of different arena maps where there are a lot of different obstacles blocking you. So under the normal situation, she will not be very viable in those rocky maps or rather the maps with a lot of blockages or obstacles, but with this exclusive weapon ability, it changes a lot of things and allows you to try to abuse her wall piercing abilities. Next, her weapon skill is Piercing Blaze, and this has a low regen time of 7.5 seconds and a high DPS number of 255%. So this skill is kind of slow, and the targeting range for the Piercing Blaze is what I'll call a mid-close range, because you actually need to get close to the enemy in order to get the lock on, and sometimes it's actually detrimental to yourself. So I think Clara is more of a normal attack hero rather than relying on her weapon skill, but if you do get her weapon skills and the chain skill off, you're able to deal massive damage to the enemy. So in case you guys want to know, you require 6 ticks from your weapon skill in order to fully chain your enemies and apply your chain skill. Now let's move on to the Colosseum and Arena analysis. So from the Colosseum side, we don't see a lot of Clara, and I think it's very straightforward. She's just not as good as Kamel. She doesn't have heal, she's not as tanky, she's not able to apply a debuff for the whole team to benefit from it, and overall her stat line is just not as good as Kamel. So that's why you don't see her around. And in comparison, I'll say that Clara is more like a Mark 99 type of range unit, where she wants to stay in the backline and deal tons of damage with her damage buff as well as her piercing abilities. However, Clara suffers from the bad AI, which position her in weird positions and often gets chained by the enemies. So that's something that a range unit wouldn't want, and based on my personal experience, it is an AI kind of thing. You can't really change it because of how her targeting mechanics for both her normal attack as well as her weapon ability works. Now moving towards the arena side, I'll say that Clara is a decent arena unit because of how Earth is very prominent in the meta right now. Clara definitely will be able to see some use due to her fire element as well as her high damage output potential. At the same time, she also has the wall piercing ability as well as high mobility from her special ability, which makes her a decently good unit against most other units. And Clara can fit very well in the range crit comp as well as the defensive range comp, with Arena and Noxia being the other defensive support. And overall, I'll say that Clara is in a good spot as an arena unit because I can see her outperforming many units due to how her kit works out. A high mobility range attacker with a bit of defensive buff and high damage potential. So without further ado, I'm gonna showcase some Clara footages from another content creator, Frokidoki. So I've linked up his channel in the description down below. So if you guys want to see more of Clara's gameplay, you guys can visit his channel for it. And without further ado, let us start the short arena showcase. Let's go. Let us move on to the PvE discussions. So with her range attack party buff as well as high damage output, Clara is a really good guild raid unit because she's able to output high damage, and you can pair her with the likes of Lucy and Elvira to form a pretty decent fire range team to deal with the earth bosses. However, one thing to take note of is that her weapon skills, status, ailments number are not that high, so you will require quite a few weapon skills to chain the boss and cycle through your chain skills. So in this case, she's not that good of a leader because you might not be able to cycle through your chain skills frequently, and it would actually reduce your damage, so not very good there. However, overall I'll rate her a high A tier unit for PvE status because she's a good range attacker that is able to output a lot of damage and is able to pierce through enemies, so she's able to clear rooms really quickly as well. However, she does not have the utility that many of the OP units have to offer, such as the heal, high damage and light resist reduction that Gabriel offers, nor the range defense reduction, heal, as well as the tankiness and damage inbuilt in Camille, nor the defense reduction and massive damage that Lilith has to offer. Below are some reasons to pull or invest in Clara, the Bound Child. So how worthy is Clara Potentially? Overall, she's a pretty solid damage dealing unit with a lot of potential in her kit, and being born in a time where Earth is the most prominent element, Clara will definitely see some use, at least in terms of the arena aspects when she's initially released. She's also a good to have unit currently, but I will say that it's a bit hard to judge how long she'll be viable for, because as most straightforward damage dealing units will fall off really quickly from the radar, but being a range attacker, it helps her quite a bit because range units often see use in guild raids eventually. Nonetheless, Clara was a legendary character in Kong Studios' previous game, which is Dungeon Link, so you can definitely pull for her due to nostalgia reasons. There's also a mileage event going on during her banner, so it's still pretty valuable overall to just pull for the mileage event and Clara all at the same time. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Do remember to like and subscribe to see more videos from this channel, and take a look at the Zibo Gaming membership feature to support the channel in the long run. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys!